In this grade 12 history video, we are preparing for the 2025 October-November finals. We are looking at the exam scope for your paper 1. We are going to look at what you can expect in your paper 1 in terms of the topics and what to exactly study under them so that you can be fully prepared for your upcoming examination. So we are going to go through the essay portion as well as the source-based questions and look at the topics that you need to study for you to be fully ready and prepared for your exam. We are looking at your exam scope coming out of the exam guidelines just as they are, and we are looking at a section A and a section B. So your question paper, your paper 1 rather, is going to have two sections, that is section A and section B. The section A is going to be source-based questions and section B is going to be essay questions. What you are required to do is to answer 3 questions. You decide whether you want to make 2 from the source-based questions and 1 from the essay portion, or 2 from the essay portion and 1 from the source-based questions. That is going to absolutely be up to you. My advice is always, what I recommend is what you have been doing throughout the entire year is what you should continue doing, unless you are looking back and you're realizing that it did not work out for you. Maybe you were writing 2 essays and you feel like you are unable to finish that last essay. However, if what you have been doing has been working, I would advise that you refine it. Just practice more the topics that you were going to choose so that you are fully prepared for them and get into the exam room doing the exact same thing that you have been doing, just with more preparation, if I'm making sense. So the topics that you have chosen in your, or rather the main topic that you chose in your preparatory examination, that is what I would go with. So if in your preparatory examination you wrote on the Cold War, that means it tells me that you studied the Cold War. So there is some information that you are comfortable with the Cold War. So what you will be doing is just adding on so that you are polishing your knowledge of the Cold War. So that's what I would advise that you do. So let's look at the source-based question. With the source-based questions, we have the Cold War, like we were saying. The questions focuses on the origins of the Cold War, and then in the bullet points they're telling you exactly what it is that you need to study, or as you are studying, what are the questions that you should be asking yourself. So we are looking at the USSR and the USA and the creation of the spheres of interest, and then the second bullet says who was to blame for the Cold War. So these are the things that you should be able to ask yourself, or the things that you should be able to answer. I recommend that you take a screenshot of this. As you are studying, you are cancelling out what you would have covered, or write it down. That is actually what makes more sense, that as you are studying you can cancel out what you have already covered, so that you are just making sure that you have fully covered all of your bases. The second topic on the source base is the independent Africa. With the independent Africa, the question focuses on Africa in the Cold War, and the case study is going to be Angola. So you're going to polish and hone in on what happened in Angola and all the questions that relate to that. I also recommend that look at the past question papers for the questions that relate to that topic. And then when it comes to the third question, we are looking at the civil society protests from the 1950s to the 1970s. The question focuses on the forms of protest throughout the civil disobedience. We are looking at the Montgomery bus boycott. We are looking at the sit-ins, the freedom riders, the campaign, and so forth. So those are the things that you need to make sure that you have covered. And then secondly, you're also looking at the school disaggregations. Then we get to the essay portion. This is your section B. In your section B, once again, you are just going to focus, write the question that you wrote before, or choose the topic that you chose before, so that you can write the essay that you chose before. The focus of the essay will obviously be something else different, but it will be still within the scope of what you would have studied in the context of what you were studying. So for example, if you chose an essay on the extension of the Cold War in the preparatory exam, it means that you studied everything and they tested you on the portion that they tested you on, and there were some other things that they didn't test you on. Once again, go back, revise those notes. What they may test this time around would be something different, but it would still allow you to talk about some of the facts that you would have covered in your preparatory examinations. I hope I'm making sense when I'm saying stick to what you have been doing. The reason is, it's easy to build up on that knowledge because you have done it before, rather than having to study everything, right? So with the essay portions, we are looking at the extension of the Cold War. The case study here, we're looking at the Vietnam and the stages of the war. And then the second topic we're looking at is the independent Africa. The focus of the question is the case study on the Congo and success and the challenges that fall within the Congo. So basically, this is everything that has to do with the Congo. So make sure that as you're preparing for this portion of the essay, you're studying everything that concerns the Congo. And then in the third topic, we are looking at the civil society protests, once again from the 1950s to the 1970s. But the focus on the question for the essay portion is going to be the Black Power movement. With the Black Power movement, we are looking at things like the reasons for the Black Power movement, the formation of the Black Power Party, the roles of Malcolm X, and all the other activists. They may focus on a different activist this time. Just make sure that you are covering as many activists as you can, especially the most popular ones. And then you're also going to look at the short-term and the long-term gains of the Black Power movement. So this is everything that is within your scope for your paper 1 examination. Once again, my recommendation is how you prepared for your preparatory examination, especially if you did well in your preparatory examination. What you need to do is just polish up on the information that you had already studied, what you remember from there, build up from there. Don't try to do something new in the final examination. I hope that you take that with caution. Don't try to do something new with your final examination. I would rather the new that you do be in the field of what you have studied. So for example, when you say you're doing something new, when you have studied the Black Power movement before for your preparatory examination, there's something new that you are doing is covering everything else in the Black Power movement that you did not cover before, studying that topic in a new way, rather than going to focus on a topic that you absolutely have no idea what it is about. So my final exam tip is choose what you chose in the preparatory examination. Just study better those topics that you chose before. YouTube recommend you more of my videos, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below.